Okay, class, this is a video on factoring basic trinomials. The first thing I'd like to just mention is that a trinomial has three things. That's why it's a trinomial. And if you look at this first one here, we have x squared, positive 12x, positive 32. All right, so there's three components to a trinomial, and when you're factoring, you are in fact looking to break that down into its components. So what we did in class today is we said trinomials are going to break down into two binomials. And there were three rules we followed as far as how do you break this down. So the first one is you have to get the head of the trinomial back. So we have x squared here, and the only way to get that back is factors would be x times x. So that's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. When you run into more issues in factoring is you've got to be able to get the tail back as well. So we have the number 32. So we talked in class about different ways to multiply to make the number 32. So we call these factoring choices or combinations. So we would want to review that and think of everything that can go into 32. So we want to go with the smallest and the largest. So the smallest factor of a number would be 1, the largest would be 32. And I'll write those down for you. Okay? So I call those the extremers. They're on the way outside, and then there are other possible factor combos. So think of other things that would go into 32, and of course 2 would. 32 is an even number, so 2 goes into it. You may need to use your calculator or your brain. 32 divided by 2, the other factor would be 16. So these are factor combinations for 32. The other one would be 4 times 8. So what we have here is we have choices. Now the thing about a trinomial you have to pay attention to, it's not just getting back the tail and the head. You also got to get the middle term correct. So we want to choose a choice that actually ends up with positive 12x for the middle. So out of these three choices, we are going to choose 4 and 8. 4 times 8 is 32, and now if you check, the outsides would be 8x, and the insides is 4x. That in fact does make 12x. Now one of the things I teach is I teach to put signs in at the very end. It's 8x and it's 4x. I want positive 12x, so I'm looking to put signs in front of these values that make that end up at positive 12. So with 4 and 8, the only sign combination that would work with would be positive 4 and positive 8.